Fantastic for Tottenham Hotspur at the Etihad Stadium. They've beaten Manchester City 4-0. Birthday boy James Madison got the scoring underway with his first ever double for Spurs. They led 2-0 at half-time. Next goal was so critical, said the guys in studio. It was Pedro Porro who scored it to make it 3-0, and the cherry on top, the icing on the cake there for Spurs to make it 4-0. A happy birthday then from James Madison. Let's hear from him.
James, congratulations. 4-0 away at Manchester City. How does that feel?
Yeah, they're a brilliant side, one of the best in the world. They've shown that over the last however many years. I think they won 5 out of the last 6 Prems, maybe more. So a result like that, you have to enjoy. You have to really. You don't get many of them in your career to come away to the champions and win 4-0 in that manner. Some tough bits in there where we had to grind out, and we needed our goalkeeper and our defenders and to be solid, because when you come to the Etihad they're going to have spells where they create chance after chance just because of the quality they've got. But we weathered the storm and we had the quality to score 4 brilliant goals. So like I said, you've got to enjoy them ones. So I think we will.
You look like you enjoyed your goals in particular, but the movement for those 2 goals, those runs inside, is that something that you'd worked on and thought about for this Manchester City team for this particular game? Yeah. I mean, I always try and do that. I think that's one of my strengths, to be fair. I've always been a goal-scoring midfielder. And them sort of runs I've kind of... I don't want to say mastered, that's not the right word, but you can say that after today if you like.
I don't want to say mastered. I've grown to the knowledge of when to make the runs, and the experience I've got. I'm 28 today, it's been well spoken about. I'm experienced now, and I know that running in behind as a midfielder from deep can be very, very effective, and it was today, yeah.
And was it particularly effective against City at the moment, because they seem vulnerable in those sort of movements?
Well, it's been quite effective for me all season. I've had quite a lot of chances actually from running in behind, from deeper passes, and I just haven't put any away. But it was nice to get that one where as soon as Decky cut in on his left foot, I knew if I timed the run well, he's got the quality to find me, and it was just about getting a good contact on it. But it's nice to see the stuff that we work on the training ground, because I do work on them runs a lot, come into fruition and get a goal from it.
And in terms of the result for your season as well, what can it do for Tottenham Hotspur's season? Because it's been disappointing so far. You came into this game 11th. Obviously, you've risen with the 3 points, but where can you go from here after that? How much confidence does it give you?
Yeah, well, I think the performances have actually been okay this season. I think obviously supporters and people in the media get carried away. They're very emotional, you lot. Get very high when there's wins and very low when there's losses. And it's our job as professionals to stay neutral, stay level-headed. If we'd beat Ipswich last week, we would have been 3rd behind Liverpool and City. So there's context to it, Hopefully it can kickstart a good run. We're doing well in Europe. We're in the quarterfinal of the Carabao with a home draw. So the season's been okay. Just haven't quite strung the performance, the results together that probably maybe some of the performances deserve. We've had a couple of blips, like the Ipswich game was a blip where the performance wasn't good enough. But in the whole, I think it's actually been all right. So hopefully this can kickstart a good winning run again.
Thank you, James. Happy birthday.
Thank you. Cheers.
You get very emotional, you lot. I like that quote.
He's right. you lot do get very emotional. and I do now, because I'm sitting on this side. No, it's a great day for Tottenham. Great day for him himself. He hasn't been first choice in that side. But when you get the opportunities to start the game, you have to go and produce. And he certainly did that today. Hit the floor running in the first half. Thought 2 great goals from him. But he was instrumental in Tottenham when they had possession, just keeping it, finding the right pass at the right time. I think the manager's got to take a lot of credit. I know I want to give him a huge amount of credit, but also the players who come in and done the job today. Dragerson and Ben Davis at the back there, were absolutely outstanding. Goalkeeper Vicario was outstanding again today. All positive. And I agree with James. I don't think the league position of 11th before the kick-off today, I don't think it was a disappointing season. Look how tight it is now. They're right up there. This will give them huge confidence to really climb the table and start winning some games in cup competitions as well, because the holy grail for Tottenham fans and the players, to win some silverware. For the club, it will be to finish in the Champions League spot, but for the fans and the players, to win a trophy.
Yeah, well, Dejan Kulusevski's created the most chances in the Premier League this season. He was at it again, involved in the opening goal, as we take a look at it there for James Madison. Let's talk about the build-up.
Well, I think Spurs do well in finding that pass to start with, to be honest. And I think Josko's got to do better with it there. But after that, Kulusevski does one, comes in on his left foot, and the weight and the flight of the pass is unbelievable, to a point where it's almost like he's got stones on like a fishing rod where he thinks he's going to get it, and then he just loses it. And the run is perfect. He just runs off the back of Gundogan there, and he just lets the ball hit him. He just guides the ball in, and that's the best way. And that's kind of the start that they needed, because City at that point had them under all sorts of pressure and was creating a lot of chances. And we thought, okay, it seems like City's back. And then Spurs do what Spurs always do to Man City, is capitalise, Tim.
Yeah, there's another mistake here. Radio again, square pass. Madison pounces on it. He knows he can bounce it off Sonny. He knows he'll hold it up for him. Little shout, round the outside. Goalkeeper comes rushing out. Edison, far too quickly, in my opinion, gives him one option to dink it over the top of him. Does brilliant. But he just links up. He looks up. He knows he can play with Sonny. He knows they got the quality. Lovely reverse pass and a dink over the goalkeeper. Fantastic.
There were enough blue jerseys in that penalty area.
Yeah, the movement was quality. The timing of the pass was outstanding. And for me, the goalkeeper comes rushing out at the wrong time. You need to come rushing out before he has the touch. Once he's out of touch, you come rushing out. He knows he's just got to lift it over you.
Yeah, 2-0 at half-time there. Nobody thought this game was done and dusted. Very critical would be the next goal. The next goal came for Spurs.
Yeah, it did, and again they pounced on an Eric Kulusevski, then well in the midfield, carried his run on and plays that ball in for Dom, and it's a little bit wide, but the idea is right there. But Pedro just drifts. He doesn't even sprint. No one picks him up. There's hardly any City midfielders in that picture, and he has the time to compose himself and dispatch it. And for me, it is beautiful play again from Spurs, pouncing on a mistake or an error that was made by City, and that's what you have to do when you go to the Etihad.
That was the best goal for me. I mean, it was a mistake from Jack Grealish there, another square pass. And Kyle Walker, sign of the times here. He's saying, go on, run me if you like. Right after the race. He runs past him. I mean, I still think he's a fantastic player, Kyle Walker. But you've got to know your players. You can't have a race with someone who's a lot younger than you and they point into that area. And Johnson does what it's a Brendan Johnson goal. If you said to me, paint a Brendan Johnson goal, it's at the back post, sliding in the 6-yard box. That's exactly what he does. There's so many goals to be had there. If you trap that back post, you will score goal after goal, especially in this attacking team.
Yeah, well, 4-0 the final score, of course, as shown there. Johnson with the icing on the cake for Spurs. Let's hear the thoughts of their manager, his Ange Postecoglou.
4-0 Ange, away at Man City, one of the great Premier League teams. They've not lost here for 2 years, if you take out the Real Madrid penalty shootout. It's a really special night, isn't it?
Yeah, it would have been handy before the international break, and I could have enjoyed a few days with the family. But no, look, it is. I think it is significant. I know, people probably reflect on, they're not in the greatest of form results-wise, but like I said, here at home, I know what a challenge they are, and it was an important game for us, fair to say, particularly after the last one, and the way the boys sort of reacted to. Very easy when you're sort of under pressure and kind of, things aren't going as smoothly as you want to splinter off. But I never got that sense. We stuck together during the week and, reflected in a great performance today.
And when there have been difficult moments this season, you said, look, we're developing, we're making progress. If that gets questioned again, this is the performance you hold up to the world, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I think it's also for us to reflect on ourselves. If we can perform like this on a consistent level, and even if it's just a bit below this, the disappointing thing for us in a couple of games is we've fallen well short of the kind of football we want to play and the team we want to be, and that's the disappointing thing. I think there's no doubting I think we're on the right track and we're developing to a very good football side, but at the same time we've got to make sure when our levels drop, they don't drop as they have in a couple of games this year.
Yeah, I sense that's in your mind already. Actually, we absolutely have to back this up now.
You always do. I mean, that's the nature of the Premier League. I mean, we've got a European game midweek. This period of games between now and sort of the New Year is going to be really important for our season. So, we've got to enjoy this. You've got to enjoy it because it doesn't come along too often, and then just recover and go again Thursday.
Well done.
Thank you, bud.
Ange Postecoglou will be enjoying that indeed. For Pep Guardiola, though, just a few days after committing his future to Manchester City, he suffered the worst home defeat of his managerial career. A 4-0 win for Tottenham Hotspur at Manchester City. Unprecedented. It's the worst home league defeat in Pep Guardiola's managerial career and his worst defeat in over a decade. It is a result that will be celebrated by Tottenham fans. But your phone has been going off, so who else is celebrating?
Just have a guess. When your dad is supporting Spurs, there is a problem right now.
Unprecedented and unheard of. There you have confirmation. The last time that Pep Guardiola lost at home 4-0, he was manager of Bayern, and it was in 2014, so well over a decade. At home this afternoon, November 2024, losing 4-0 to Spurs at the Etihad Stadium, the worst in the league ever for Pep Guardiola. It has been a difficult period, Tim, and as a manager, what can he do?
Well, he's never experienced it. I mean, welcome to the real world, Pep. This is what happens at football management. Sometimes you get beat 4 or 5 on the spin, and you just have to try and find the next win. And that's exactly what he'd be doing. He won't be panicking. This man's a genius. He's been a genius for years and years. You know, he's never been used to this. He needs to get on the horse, get back on it, and find a win from somewhere and get some confidence. But he needs some players back. We keep talking about the players who are not there, and he hates to do that. He likes to embroider the players who he's got and try and encourage them to. And he had a good enough team out there today. And we just spoke about it. He never played badly. You know, in the first half, I mean, Haaland should have scored 3 goals. You know, Vicario made some decent saves. But they're just making sloppy mistakes at the back. They look like on the back of if you're ever going to play Man City, I think you need to play them after an international break. And that is when they're at their worst. And they've shown that again today. But you have to give Tottenham a lot of credit. They got the game plan right. They sat a little bit deeper today and they sprung on a counter-attack. They put Madison in there, who kept the ball when he was needed, find the right pass at the right time, had the pace on the counter-attack, and they were clinical in their finishing. But Pep, he'll know what to do. As much as he's not experienced it, he wouldn't know exactly what to do. We keep talking about Rodri, the miss of Rodri, and I'm going to talk about the players they're missing. He won't go on about that because he's a very proud man and he likes to give credit to the players who are out there. Ruben Diaz is a huge miss for me. When you're missing him, he's a leader. You know, he's someone who digs people out and organises, not only for his defensive qualities, but his leadership qualities. They're really missing him. Kovacic was missing there today. The midfield looked wide open today. Looked like it missed physicality, really, legs to get around. They're all good footballers. We know if you play for Man City, you've got to be a good footballer. You've got to be able to handle the ball. But sometimes, like Gundogan for the first goal, when he lets Madison run off the back of him, if that's Rodri, that's not happening. If it's Ruben Diaz is there as a centre-back, he's not allowing him to do that. So sometimes you need leaders to open their mouth and they need to pull people around. Today, they never had that.
We've spoken a lot about what went right for Spurs today, what they did well. From a Manchester City perspective, how would you sum up the 90 minutes and what went wrong today?
A typical game against Spurs in many ways. I think, like I said earlier on the show, if you've seen them over the years against Spurs, they do dominate the game in possession. They do create chances. Spurs always seem to defend well at times, or their keeper does really well and pulls off good saves, and which is what they did. But what was fantastic about Spurs today is when they did get the opportunities to break on City's sloppy mistakes, they proper capitalised on it. They made them pay for every bad square pass, for every loss of possession, and that is what the Premier League gives you. The Premier League's only getting harder and harder and harder, and these teams can hurt you if you're caught half at your game. And in terms for City's levels, they were half at their game in terms of keeping possession in dangerous areas and not leaving themselves wide open to them attacks. They left themselves wide open today and they got punished.
Haaland also had a hat-trick of really great chances in the first half. He scored over 50% of City's goals. Are the goals being shared around enough this season?
Well, no, they ain't. There is a lot of pressure on him. Josh Scholes, probably, I think, in many ways, the second top goal scorer in that squad. And they do need to be shared out. But at the same time, Phil's only just started really playing again. Kevin's on the verge of coming back. We saw him come in and we saw a little spark light up, especially in Bernardo and the way Haaland were moving in that final third. So there are still players to come back. But at the end of the day, we had the chances in this game to maybe put Spurs on the back foot or even win it early on, but we didn't take them. And Spurs did well.
Incredible as well in terms of the title race. Manchester City 5 points behind Liverpool, who play tomorrow, potentially 8 behind them before their game next week. Is it too early to say that is too damaging?
No, it's not too damaging, but it's wide open. I mean, anyone can win. 3 teams, in my opinion, can win it: Arsenal, Liverpool and Man City. Tottenham won't get close enough, but they're going to have a huge say in who does win it. No one wants to play Tottenham. Both home and away, they will go with the same approach as what they had there today, and they will blow this title race wide open.
Absolutely. Well, the Premier League back from the international break, and it's back with a shocking result for Tottenham, 4-0 at Manchester City. And that's where we leave it for this Saturday. Thank you so much to Shaun, to Tim as well. Great being in your company. See you next time. Bye-bye.